Morning. Hello, stream. Hello, hello. Hope things are going well for you all. I'm just gonna preemptively start this stream up with a quick mention while I'm here that there is a video coming up here soon of an explanation on what's going to be going on in the future with the Twitch channel and stuff like that. Look forward to that tomorrow. We'll be releasing it. And also a secondary thing at the beginning of this video, if you are watching this, and I'll mention this again at the end, that we will also be doing a new series called The Stone Twitch. But there's a lot coming to change, a lot of new things coming up, so I wanted to let you all know, and now I will go join their Discord and see what they're up to. Hello. Do you need me to post the alliances according to what Gaul talked about? Well, here. I'm. Yep. I'm going to pin each of these. So there's the neutral. I'm also keeping tabs for the amount of soldiers strong, so that way you guys will also have that as just a general notion, and that way, in case I forget something, you are able to bring it up to me. So, which one? Tenon? Yeah. Well, here is that as well, so that way you have that. All right. So now they're all pinned. Make it real easy for you to keep track of. Okay. Oh, I finally got a haircut. Barbershop finally opened right before the snow hit. So, yeah. Now I look less like actually I don't have a description for this one. Hmm. Okay, so in Toutlers, so there is, yes, they are the same groups, but I will mention the Heli are split into two different kind of factions. You've got the yes. And then the Heli are the main nation, like that have basically the own continent to themselves, and they have, although the same houses ruling over both, it's different branches of each of the houses. The Heli are looked to be as the um, colonies, and the Helio, or sorry, the Heli are the main race, and the Helio are the colonies. So. Just like the tieflings would most likely have a similar phrase for those who are considered colonials on the main land rather than from the. Well, I mean, yes and no. Ash was the. Hmm? Which one? Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that's how the alliance was formed, so I've left it alone. Yes. However, I have already made a note in the timeline that Zaya passed away from the physical form, and so that Tikva is now ruling. Uh huh. Mhm. Mm. Ah, I love that French press machine or French press thing I got. God damn, that thing has paid for itself. Ah. Oh yeah, we finally are getting some snow like you guys get up in the north. We've got all the way up to the car doors. Yeah, it hasn't stopped snowing in like 2 days now, so we're getting a couple of feet now. Oh. Mm-hmm. It's getting nice. It's my excuse to go get Taco Bell tonight for dinner. So, cause nothing else is open. Yeah. Meanwhile, up here we're like, oh shit. Well, I mean, it'd be a lot easier if the land was flat. most of the land here is hilly, so driving on hills with this amount of ice is not great. So that's been my only complaint. Ugh. This is why I'm drinking a second cup of coffee. I am not awake yet. Okay, let me see. What do we have so far? Okay, so I have the Tarrasque set there just in case. This is pulled. Okay, and then I need to read someone's backstory. Because I forgot to. Please tell me it's short. Thankfully it is. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna mute myself so you guys can chat. Okay. No, the reason I didn't deafen is because of the fact that since I'm already streaming, in case you guys had anything you wanted to chat about, can't hear the others talking. You should be able to. Maya, say something. Oh, that is weird. It's not picking them up. You're correct. Oh. Wolf is in the thing listening in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering what's going on and why my desktop audio is not working. Alright, so no session then if that's the case.
Time to lay around to eat chocolate.
Yep, hit okay. Alright, say something, Maya.
Periwinkle.
Alright, now they can. Yes, the reason why is because I messed with my settings and it was set to default, and my default on my computer is off my TV, not off of my headphones.
Self-centered. That's your default. Just you. Only your audio.
Little shit, I will end you. Don't you dare speak to me in that manner.
We're not in a manner. We're in a D&D session.
That was
Hey.
cheesy. That was terribly cheesy.
Yep.
Oh, or as Calvin would say, I'm getting a little bit of stomach bubbles from the lactose intolerance here.
What?
I heard a good one the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I found out there's no popcorn and popcorn shrimp, so I'm not even gonna give pot roast a try.
That's I like that. Oh man. Alright. And if the rest of the party doesn't show on time, that's fine. Today is gonna be a bit more story heavy, I imagine, just because you guys are still kind of figuring out some stuff. So
Yeah, probably.
no issue either way if they decide not to. I have the plan for the next 4 plot lines you guys can pretty much choose from depending on where you go. If you manage to come up with a decision that throws me, I'll be surprised. So,
One where we win.
define winning.
None of us die and we get Zaya back.
Oh, well yeah, that's possible. I thought you
Yeah.
meant like
Except for Cyrus. Screw that dude, man. You know,
That's-
leaving to be important when we needed him most with us to help.
Mhm.
assumes
Hey,
he's important.
he's got to fulfill his Highlander duties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there can
Yeah,
only
that
be one.
BS. You're more
Mhm.
main character than the character who was in the campaign for like 2 years. real lifetime. You've become more plot relevant than her.
I mean, I wouldn't say Tikva or Zaya is the main character of this story, to be honest.
No, but I'm saying it's more plot relevancy, and it
You'd be
makes me
surprised.
mad.
To be honest, Zaya and Tikva have more plot relevance than most of the other characters in the campaign currently. Cyrus just happened to have finished his arc. That was kind of the whole thing. So
Yeah.
when I do my campaigns, the way I design them, for those who watch this stuff and who are always curious about how I plan things, first off, I don't plan much. I have a general quest sentence that says, "This is what's going to happen," and that's pretty much it. Everything else I'll make up on my own. But everyone gets a story arc. Every character does. So it's me. Yes, Zilpip. It's Zilpip's story. That's what this has all been about. No one expected that.
What are you talking about? This has been my prediction the entire time.
You
It's
mean
just
the
his villain
gnome with
arc.
insane OP godlike powers who's been
My it's
pain in our
just his villain
butt
arc.
for so many
It's-
campaigns? You mean he isn't relevant to the plot?
Actually, it's
What?
funny enough.
I thought he was like a
Zilpip
background character.
is a background character to your guys' campaign.
That's a
Well,
fucking
is our
lie.
campaign
No.
or Grim Legacy's campaign the main one? Is the
None-
real
I
question.
don't- I would say that none of you guys are. The main campaign is actually around characters you haven't actually dealt with for the most part.
Well,
Currently,
they don't matter.
the main story campaigns for what you guys are seeing would be Tenem, Zarius, Trinitas, Tautler, and then the leader of the Heli Nation.
Well, they're not players, so they don't matter.
Actually, they are. All 4 of them have players who are playing them currently in a separate offline campaign I'm running.
Really? Are worlds
Every-
being influenced by people we don't know?
Every
That
character
explains a lot.
that is an important NPC, when I run a campaign, and Cameron was there when this happened, when he got to hear about this, when I first started my first campaign, I always run important characters with players who are going to portray them, not in the traditional D&D game sense. You guys, they don't go on dungeon runs or anything like that. They just make decisions based on what's going on.
Is
and they
that why
run
the
stuff.
hell you're extra asshole-ish outside of what you would do?
Yeah.
No wonder the campaign's so hard. We're literally trying to fight and like go against other human intelligence. No wonder.
However,
Below average,
this-
damn it.
This is the thing. Those who play those 4 main characters don't have any idea about you guys outside of the basic interactions they've had with you. That's it. So
no, I bet Wolf's
none
the
of
one.
them really have
Wolf
any.
fess
Wolf is
up.
not. Wolf only the only character. There are only 2 characters Wolf has control of. One is Logothus, who has nothing to do with the campaign and has no interest in bothering with anybody. And has set up his own little skeleton fortress up in the north. And then Zilpip. And Zilpip doesn't have an interest in any of you guys. You just keep getting involved in his shit.
He keeps
We
getting
keep
in our
his
way.
way.
Well, if you'd leave him alone, I mean, I'll be honest, Zilpip has no interest.
We're doing stuff. His group literally came to kill us when we were just in the same city, not doing anything.
No, one of them had a side quest to kill one of you, actually. That was it. It was
Why?
not because it was part of their storyline. They wanted to implement one of your guys' characters into their storyline, and thus that's what caused it.
Wait, that never got brought up. What? How are
Mhm.
we connected? Like Cyrus and Captain, like we're from the New World, and I
Exactly.
don't think Zaya had a connection with anyone else.
The 2
So
New
was it
Worlders.
then?
First off, Cyrus's time magic caused Zilpip to get a flare up on that. That's why Zilpip knew where you guys were. And Zilpip didn't give a shit, to be honest. He had no intention of chasing you down. He was just watching to see what was going on. And then as far as it goes, it was Tren's character. Fuck, what was his name? The fucking giant dragonborn.
Yeah, that he always
Snicknash.
talks about.
Yes,
Yeah.
Nicknash had a draw towards Captain's character, so that Captain didn't know. Because of the fact that Captain's background had to do a lot with actually the backstory of what Snicknash was going to get involved in quest-wise, but Snicknash, never got to do his quest because he got killed before then.
Oh.
So, yes. As far as it goes, no, that's what the connection was. I won't go into detail extremely because of the fact that it may come up in story later, but yeah, So you guys are intertwined, but you are by no means anywhere near the main players in the story. The story, the way I like to run my campaigns is I like to run the entire world while my players are off doing their own quests, and I let you guys get intertwined in the random shit that might be going on. So, for example,
Okay,
the capturing of
I have
Dragon's
a
Gate.
solution to this.
Oh gods, yeah.
Team, we just gotta destroy the world. If we do it, no one else can.
No, we just need to find these people and murder them
Wolf hasn't
so
managed to
we
yet.
can be the main character.
Wolf's been
Is one
trying
of
to
them
destroy my
Dreed?
world. Nope. I will say that all four of the main characters to the story of the leaders of the alliance are all being played by people none of you have ever met. They're friends of mine from long ago.
Time
Oh,
to message
they're
Kelvin and have him
friends
break
of
into
yours
it.
from long ago, so they're also boomers, and because they're your friends, they'd share your morals, which explains why all your NPCs are evil and we hate them.
I
Okay,
mean,
that makes a lot of sense.
if it makes you feel any better, out of my main group, like my friend group, I'm actually the least evil of the group. I wasn't even that bad compared to my our buddy who was a Dragonborn player, which Cameron remembers hearing the stories about him.
Yeah, he's the reason you're racist against the fucking them.
Sorry, what?
So I don't usually like Dragonborn, like the traditional Dragonborn. I don't that's luckily Miguel's not playing a traditional, he's playing one of the new ones. Which I was
he
cool for.
considers the traditional Dragonborn overpowered.
So one of my buddies, we played in a campaign, my first ever 3.5e campaign, which would later switch over to 5e, was with me and four of my friends. One of them was playing a Dragonborn that he basically started World War I and started genociding people, which caused me and another friend of mine to team up together after we conquered two nations to go against him, and it started a whole war. But the motherfucker figured out a way to enslave what do you call them? Fucking those eyeball monsters, beholders.
Beholders?
And also managed
I
to
mean-
turn half of his followers into liches, which was, great. So yeah.
Asteris is a fucking nobody who wants nothing.
No, also Asteris is one of the new Dragonborn from Alexandria, which I find very cool and interesting, surprisingly. So I don't like traditional Dragonborn. I think they're plain and boring. But yeah.
They are.
And I have no idea which one of my two characters I have to play.
CR55 is the one you're with currently. Because Malthor is currently preoccupied.
Off
He's
training with his god.
a Ravenite. So he
Yes.
gets he gets like once a day when somebody hits him, he can attack them back. Okay, what it's called.
It's the best game of I will bitch slap you if you touch me.
Well, Ravenites have an interesting story, I think, compared to the Dragonborn in the Exandria, which is that they were a enslaved race. And I find them very interesting. One of the only things that I really wish they would have addressed was Draconians as a proper race in D&D, but they'll never bring those back, sadly. Oh no, what's going on? Oh, okay. I think we're waiting on Tren. I'm gonna give him about 3 more minutes, and I will start without him.
I gotta go pull up CR55's sheet and get my dice ready and hope to God Angiel just stays away from me for a little while.
Good luck.
Oh, I'm gonna need it. He's been hell today. He broke a collectible.
Okay. Alright. Oh man. Okay. Just taking care of something real quick. So that's all set up. Oh, I'm already craving Taco Bell. I cannot wait for after D&D to go get Taco Bell.
I had Taco Bell last night. It was very good.
Oh, I'm gonna be doing 2 crunch wraps and 3 chicken soft tacos.
Wow.
So traditional.
If you haven't tried them, try steak quesarito.
Oh, all right. Well,
It's steak,
Uh-huh.
nacho cheese, rice, and a burrito.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah,
Well,
it's quite good.
I'm planning to do the Stone Twitch stream tonight playing Borderlands 3 for the first time, so I'm gonna need some Taco Bell. Like, you can't get stoned and not get Taco Bell. Like, that's just a rule. So, alright. Okay. Alright. Remind me. Oh, Cameron left. Damn it. Okay, never mind. I'll ask him when
Nope.
he comes back.
Down
Cameron,
2.
Cameron, are you back? No, he's not talking.
Yeah,
There
I'm
we-
back.
Question. Just to remind me of something real quick. Normac we set as the protector of almost extinct species, correct?
Yeah, he was a guardian. He was a deity for that species as well as a deity of blacksmithing.
Are
Yes.
the tieflings almost extinct yet?
No. So the idea with Malthor's god Normac, it would be like, the crystal giants, for example, a species that is extremely fragile and considered extinct would be something that you'd see with Normac protecting. So I was
Worshipping
just
him.
Yeah, I was
And
trying to remember that.
He was the Crystal Dragonborns were another one because they ended up on decline for so long.
Yep.
And he is actually of the crystal species, so any of the crystalline species he actually would guard very ferociously.
Yes, I was just trying to recall if that was what we set him to. Okay, no issue. All right. So,
And his favorite form of worship is blacksmithing.
let us start. It's fine that Trent's not here. Like I said, we will start without him.
I'm gonna be switching over to my laptop so I can have my sheet up and actually be able to do stuff. This will be fun.
Okay. So, last time we left off, the party had managed to finally return back to Castle Silversong, retreating for the evening, and kind of going about their own business to find out what's going on. The party would find out the general information about what allegiances had been formed, what allegiances are still awaiting to be created, what races were of an opportunistic point of view, and so on and so forth. The current grouping of what the party managed to find is that there are currently considered 4 factions, 5 when counting neutrals. The Dragon's Gate Kingdom, which is running as a feudal alliance where Tenem has declared himself emperor with a bunch of vassals through the High Elves, the Tieflings, the Tabaxi, the Snow Elves, and the Null clans. Trinitus, the son of Logalthus, one of the former gods of wrath and destruction overall, had founded himself with the Mountain Dwarves, the Hill Dwarves, the Yuan-Ti, the Storming Empire, and the Red Orc clan in a sort of martial alliance. Idea of a martial alliance, for those wondering, means it is whoever is the strongest rules. Tautler's alliance, with Tautler running basically all of the Drafican continent, all of the different Dragonborn clans. Also had the giant nations on his side, the Goblin Slavers, the High Queendom, and a portion of the Heli, specifically the colonials of the Helio. And then lastly, of course, the Heli conglomerate, who are being basically the Heli directly, who have formed an alliance with Zilpip specifically. This is well known at this point through the use of spies. A general understanding was given of strength of troops. Of course, these troops are generally rated on a number system from basic levies to all the way up to full artillerymen and magic casters of a higher degree. So, we come back to the party having gotten to the evening, most of them having planned out their evenings and began going about. Asteris went mad, Anton did Anton things. Malthor is currently with Normac. CR55 has been going through and trying to figure out how to reproduce this metal. And Tikva spent the night with her child and her beloved husband.
Questionable.
Very.
I mean, he's beloved, just maybe not by Tikva. We come back.
I mean, Malthor
Damn.
enjoys his company.
There you go. Gaul's loved by everyone but his own wife.
He wasn't loved by Captain.
Yeah,
true.
a certain pirate.
When we come back to the party, having almost to the early morning, as the rest of the party has gone to sleep, Tikva, we will take a moment for you. As you are resting beside Gaul, who is snoring louder than ever. At this point, you've grown so accustomed to it that you are able to ignore it. Your child is sleeping comfortably in her crib beside your bed. The room is dark, but you find yourself somewhat at ease for once. You begin to hear voices, not being able to discern at first what they are, when suddenly in front of you stands a very short-looking gnome with long white hair and an iron mask on his face. You recognize this
Gotcha.
gnome almost immediately as Zilpip. You also recognize, due to your passive perception, that this is a spell, that this person is not directly there. He begins to speak to you, and says a few things that I'm going to copy and paste and send you directly to avoid anything specifically. And just as he finishes, and before you get a chance to respond, the image fades, the voices stop, and you find yourself sitting in bed, opening your eyes. To still the quietness, Gaul snoring still going on, and unknown of what time it is. You'd guess sometime early in the very early morning, as the sun has yet to come up.
I'm going to get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do one last check-in on my daughter.
She seems to
Can
be
I?
cuddling up next to a giant's thumb.
Nice. Of course. Can I attempt a Arcana check to see if I can detect like what magic exactly was used just
Yeah.
there?
Feel free.
All right. Watch this, Cyrus. I'm about to roll better than you do. Bam. Well,
Yup.
actually.
That's actually kind of shit for given the modifier you have.
No, shut up. Shut up.
With a 19,
It's
I got 4
average.
earlier.
It's average.
with a 19, you managed to figure out that this is a modified version of message. It is very similar in the idea that this spell works the same way. However, the difference being is it portrays the person's image in front of you just as well, in a form of a mental bond for moments, not in a way that is traceable from what you're able to gather, unfortunately, due to the high level that this magic takes.
Okay. Yeah, then Tikva's gonna get up quietly, get dressed or whatever she has to do. She's gonna exit out of the room. Do I know the rooms the other party members are currently staying in?
Most of them seem to be staying in the guest quarters, which is the other side of the castle at this time, castle/manor. You know that would be on the first floor, as you are on the second, and they would be kept more closer to the kitchens, as well as they are none of them are considered outright royalty. So.
Okay.
And then
I'll head.
CR55, you of course never saw leaving the main throne room.
Okay. Then I'm gonna head that way. The first servant guard I pass, I'm gonna like gesture them to me, like, and be like, please get the guests woken, get them breakfast served, and tell them I need to speak with them all when we eat for breakfast. It is important business.
And the guard looks at you. You notice he has very beautiful purple eyes. Very simple look to him, very commoner-esque, as his horns are very small. His tail does not look to have much to it, and his color is very plain. Just nods and turns and begins marching off.
I'll walk specifically while he's gathering the others to where I know Anton is,
Okay.
and knock on the door when I arrive.
As you head downstairs, following the guard for a moment, the guard seems to head one way, towards the kitchens, and the general hallway, while you turn and head down towards where the blacksmith is kept and where Anton took up the room of his supposed father figure. Um, as you head down there, you come into the room, and Anton, the door is unlocked for you. As you see, the guards seem to move aside as you walk in, Tikva. Anton, I believe at this hour, about 3 a.m., would be sleeping still, or would still be sleeping. Is this correct?
Yep.
All right. As you walk into the room, you see Anton buried under what looks to be some sort of simple cotton sheets. You note that these are of lesser quality than the silk ones you sleep under. A few statues in the room. What looks to be a marker above the bed that says Cyrus or Lord Cyrus Galadron.
Okay. Seeing him still asleep, I'll use thaumaturgy to like make the noise of like bells or something, like right where he's at, to wake him.
Anton, give me a perception check.
I can do that.
Wakey, wakey, plot time.
8.
8.
Knock, knock. Time to scheme.
As you ring the bell, or as the bells ring, Anton does not seem to be at all bothered and still continues to slightly snore.
Okay, I'm looking at my equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I guess I don't have anything. All right. You said he's buried under blankets.
Correct.
I'm pulling the typical mom move where you go over and you pull the blankets off of someone.
All right, Anton, give me another perception check.
If you don't wake up, I'm going to punch you. Tikva does
Non-lethally.
not have time.
Heavy sleeper. Heavy sleeper.
As Anton just
Oh
kind of
my
curls over and
God.
continues to snore.
All right. Non-lethal and not very hard, but in the middle of his back, I'm gonna make an attempt to make an unarmed strike
Okay.
to shock him awake, because I'm sure he can handle it. Right? You're tough. I'm not wasting a spell slot on
Sure.
you. God damn it. All right.
As you go to punch, unfortunately, it's somehow Anton must be awake and messing with you, you think, or he has got natural reflexes. As you go to swing at him, casting your spell, and he just kind of lays flat on his stomach, and you completely miss, slightly landing on Anton. Anton, at this point, as you feel something kind of land on your back that feels very light, you find yourself awake in the dark with no blankets.
I'm gonna pull off and be like, God. I'm grumbling in Infernal. I don't know if you speak that, but I'm saying, God damn it, why are humans sleep as hard as a rock? How did they even evolve to survive? And I'm now pulling. I'm gonna pull out my sunblade and activate it just so there's bright light in the room. And I'm gonna shine it like directly on Anton.
You
and
pull the
see if I get a
blankets off of him
reaction.
and shine a flashlight in his eyes?
Yep.
Basically.
Anton, you feel
This
like
is great.
you get the
His survival
feeling
instinct should be better than this.
you get the
Yeah.
feeling you are being kidnapped. Your father warned you about these things. They happen every once in a while.
When he did dodge, you probably saw the tattoos on him flare slightly.
Fun.
And he will cast Green Flame Blade and grab a dagger underneath his pillow.
He sleeps
Okay.
with it.
As you turn,
Great.
Anton, with
Sleeps
your
with a dagger but can't wake up to bells.
as you turn with a dagger to Tikva's throat, you immediately recognize Tikva.
Blinded.
Although the light is extremely bright and you can't really see much else besides her very annoyed-looking face.
Glad I have about ample time to stab you 15 more times before you wake up, Anton. I have great faith, and if we ever had to camp outside, you'd know when an assassin is near. And her tail's like flicking a little bit in irritation. Are you awake,
Yes, sorry.
Foley?
I am. I put the dagger away and extinguish the Green Flame Blade.
I retract the sunblade and sheath it. Look, you are the closest I have to Cyrus and what he knew and what he might do, and there's something very important we need to discuss. I can give you time to get around or whatever, but I prefer we talk before we talk with the others. I'm having them rounded up and sent to breakfast. Hopefully the servants have an easier time waking them than I did you. And she like taps like the hilt of the sword with her long nails.
Yes, give me 1 minute and I will be ready.
Wonderful. I shall wait outside, and she'll walk out of the door and stand in the hall.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't have much to get ready. Basically just kind of put on his normal kind of robe type thing, and we'll join her in the hall, or actually we'll invite her back in.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm sure
Tickle will head
I'm
back
sure
in.
there's a table or something there, some other seating in the room, I would assume.
Okay. All right. While this is going on, Astris, we're gonna jump over to you. As you are sitting in a somewhat situation of prayer, even into the late night, almost in a sort of sleep, as you feel your body relaxing the entire time, praying to your goddess, you feel for a moment a strange divine presence somewhere about the building. And just as you do, you get the vision of the white dragon and Saphira fighting once more. And just as the presence arrives, it fades away and the vision dissipates once more. You begin to get the feeling that there's something that is connecting Saphira with this white dragon, and that you are the one chosen to deal with this.
It is the predestined Zilpip Slayer.
Why's it always gotta be so complicated? He'll try his
You are the
best to
chosen
get a full night of sleep,
Mhm.
but he doesn't. And as soon as is there like a window outside in the room?
Yes.
Uh, if it's openable, as soon as excuse me, as soon as the sun comes up, he would try and climb to like a spot where he could sit on any sort of like roof or like awning and watch the sunrise
Okay.
with Idris.
Okay. As the sun rises, you eventually hear sounds with your passive perception down the hall as the doors are being opened. You hear the voices of your party mates being brought out, and you hear the sound of food being offered. To the explanation that Tikva is requesting everyone's presence.
Asterisk doesn't want to go down and talk with everyone, but Idris is really hungry, so he goes down out of necessity to get him some food and is probably roped into whatever the rest of the party's talking about.
Okay. All right. As you head out, as you go to open the door, the guard kind of seems surprised that you were able to you opened it before he got a chance, and kind of just explains the situation and begins to bring you down. We will come back to you in a moment, Astris. Kips, as you're working in your lab late into the night, you feel a strange presence for a moment, given your own divine background. And you get the vision, or you get a slight vision, of what looks to be a bunch of people in a room. Some faces you recognize, some you do not. You see your party mates for a moment, and others you do not know the face of. You even see Golf as well. And then you see what looks to be a strange scene of your party mates with their throats slit and a gnome standing over each of them.
Motherfucker.
And just as this vision hits you, you also see a secondary vision that hits you. As a very young looking woman with black hair wearing a black dress, pale skin, stands before you. She looks you in the eyes, kind of shrinks down as she seems to almost tower over you. She pats your head, rubs the fur, and looks to you and goes, "A war is coming, my child. I wish for you to protect those you find dear, and to study what you can to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Do not let the innocent die without good value." And just as she disappears, and you awaken to hear as a guard is knocking on the door, saying, Sir, you've been summoned to the hall for breakfast by the Queen. I request that you immediately head there," as he continues to slam on your door.
I'm gonna open the door.
Okay. As you see a very pale skinned, very common looking tiefling, you'd recognize this as someone who's probably of peasant's blood. And he just kind of looks at you and nods and heads down the hallway further. All right.
Okay then.
As you head to the hall for breakfast, each of you heading in that direction as time goes on, you see the cooks are busy at work as there's food being brought out, large things of what looks to be some sort of bacon, slabs of meat left and right, vegetables, and fruits to some of you you've never seen before. One of the servants mentions on the side to Tikva that the trade deals have finally started to come through, and many merchants are starting to come through as well. The kingdom is starting to see a good portion of income and commissary coming through. At the same time, as you all gather together, you see that Gaul has joined, holding baby Zaya, and seems to be sitting down in a very simple leather tunic, leather pants, and just seems to be eating while feeding the child. Take it away, Tikva.
Was I able to have a conversation with Anton before entering the hall?
You guys were at that point summoned by the guard, pushing for you guys to come in that
Okay,
direction
that's
as
fine.
everyone gathered.
All right, then Tikva will decide to take a seat. Any servants in the room, she will request that they clear out and leave space for everyone at the table to discuss privately the matters at hand.
Okay.
Asterisk tries to leave too.
She requests he stays if he would like, as it's important, but she will not force him.
I
Ask.
mean,
What would
what
you
have
do?
what have I got to add to this conversation? If you don't mind me asking.
It's not what you can add, it's what you can help us do. You seem out of the loop. I figure if you want to be brought in, listening in will benefit you. Perhaps you have information we don't know about. But if you'd rather just help us when it comes to combat, by all means, you are free to leave.
I'll stay then if you guys are discussing things that might help me.
Of course. If we have answers, I'm willing to share, but I'm afraid answers are sparse, which is why I'm summoning you all here. I apologize, it is early. I myself didn't want to wake up, but I was interrupted by not really a vision, more like a meeting, an appearance of a gnome, a white-haired one. Zilpip, if I'm to recall. Now, I don't know much about this man, but I've heard from the travels here with Zaya and her party, though none of you, except maybe you, Kips, were from that original party, she never spoke of him kindly. She never spoke of him favorably. And seems you two were in disagreements, if not outright enemies. He came to me magically, and she looks to Anton and she says this, a modified message spell, if I'm to believe. He wasn't there, but I could see him. He came and he told me he knew that me and my compatriots, although I don't know him, I'm sure he assumes by association, well, you, us, the other past members, whoever wanted him dead. He says, continuing on this path, him dying, ends with everything we love everything we crave and work towards being burnt and ruined and destroyed. That his death would lead to our destruction. He says he's open to conversation. Now, I ask, especially you, Anton, since Cyrus knew more than any of us, what power this gnome has, why he claims his death would lead to our failure, and whether or not discussion of peace is actually an option. I know many where deceit is strong, and this would be a ruse or a trap.
Okay.
DM, I know that the Trask was kind of summoned and being controlled by him right now,
Oh yeah,
probably through
that was
Cyrus.
that would have been pretty
Yeah.
clear.
Hmm.
Well, I know that he has summoned this Trask that was close in the Nordlands. He can, maybe he has the power to remove it if
Hmm.
he isn't in danger from us. I was not told anything good from my father, but this seems out of character from what I've been told. It might be worth pursuing.
The
I do not
problem I
know.
have with that logic is he's in control of the Tarask, which means he's piloting it. The Tarask is set to destroy the world. You were not there, Anton. I don't think any of you were. Maybe UCR-55, but Cyrus and I recall, and the members there were approached by the High King. He told us, I don't recall the exact words, basically, there are two main sides now in this conflict. People, mainly the gods, who want the world destroyed so they can restart. Clean up their mistakes, brush it under the carpet, start anew. And others, I believe maybe Saya, although I'm not sure where she lies in this, in whatever form she takes, who want to fight for the world, to continue, to change it for the better without destroying it. If I'm to believe this, the Tarask would would be the option that destroys the world to start anew, would it not? I mean, I don't know this Zilpip guy or his plans or these higher powers, but the High King didn't seem fond of him either, which was weird.
I mean, that being is an extremely powerful creature. Um, it would have the capabilities to at least destroy a lot of the world if it's not dealt with. It seems that calling that upon the worlds would be on the side of the gods if they want
The-
to just
There's
destroy and recreate.
And that would be the easy answer, and we'd have our answer. No, we don't trust him. The issue is the High King told us that if Zilpip was our enemy, that the High King was our friend, which implies Zilpip and the High King, and therefore most of the gods who I believe fall on the side of destroying the world and restarting, unless I'm incorrect in that assumption, don't agree with Zilpip, which makes me question where he lies on this.
And it would seem to be counterintuitive to side with the High King if they will then destroy the world.
He could lie in the middle and just want to destroy part of the current world and rule over the other
True.
half as a tyrant.
Or destroy the gods with a beast of destruction, I wonder. You, Steris, you come from lands I don't know. Do you know of your gods? Know of anything there where some of this could enlighten us? I know you serve, I believe, Saphira?
Yeah. We've got a kind of a repertoire. No. We have a pact. She does things for me, and I do things for her. But yeah, she's currently No, a white dragon, I think it is.
White
Really
dragon.
large one. I think that's probably one of my first
Does
priorities is to kill it.
white dragon. Out of character. DM, would Tikva know of any white dragons, godlike,
No,
powerful, that be prevalent?
there'd be
Hmm.
honestly the only dragons that are well known to the world are Saphira, the 6 Sigma dragons, and none of them are white dragons. Actually, all 6 Sigma dragons are of a separate breed of dragon, unique breeds of their own right. Outside of that, there haven't been dragons really spotted in the world for thousands of years. Most were killed off long ago.
White
And
dragon. I
DM,
don't.
Yes.
the dragon that appeared to Cyrus in the Yuan-Ti, that was white, correct? If I
Yes,
remember right.
that is correct.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if in character we know that though. That's the issue. Tikva like look contemplatively. I do not know of any real life white dragons. This white dragon your goddess fights must either be a new risen one, a god, or a manifestation, a representation of something. Something she's fighting against. Did she have any gods you knew she hated? Any ideals she would fight against that could give us answers? Assuming Saphira is on our side, it'll help us identify perhaps our enemies.
So to clarify for you, Miguel, Saphira is a god of basically the downtrodden and the weak. She is a goddess who basically makes people prove themselves, but prefers to keep those who are innocent, those who cannot defend themselves, to be protected. That's one of the reasons that it's believed that the snow elves were created. So.
Okay.
Memories of my first character swarming back to me when I almost screwed Saphira up royally.
He says, well, if they're enemies of Saphira, then they're probably enemies of everyone, cause she's a protector of the innocent. So
There was one other white dragon that Cyrus told me about. When you guys were in the Yuan-Ti lands in the underground, a white dragon appeared to him. He later believed that it was possibly a new god, or Ray Plastes. But he had not been able to figure anything else out prior to his journey.
As you say that, do you see like Tikva ruffle through her bag? And she pulls out like a note. It's like a bit torn in the corner, looks in kind of rough condition. When we first landed in the Nordlands, I found this note. I showed it to Cyrus. He did seem familiar. It reads from Duke Galadro. Just the letters ripped. Might be Galadron now that I think about it. And like her eyes flick to Anton, and she continues, my wife has passed, my life is at forfeit, and now I will avenge myself. Even the gods themselves cursed me, for he has cursed me, and now I must avenge those who I saw fall. I saw the path if I hadn't, and they would have all died. A gruesome death at the hands of that rust dragon. First Zilpip, then Logothis, and lastly the High King. I will claim that throne, I will fix what they have destroyed, and I shall destroy Ray Plastis. This means this white dragon, whoever he is, whatever he is a mutual enemy, I would assume. I think
It
that's
seems
a
that
safe
way.
assumption.
I ain't too
May I
keen
take
on
a look
the,
at that?
Yeah, she like was handing it over as she said that. From the
Okay.
read. If that is related to Cyrus or one of his ancestors, descendants, whoever, then I consider Cyrus an ally. If Ray Plastes is his enemy, he's ours as well. He also paints Zilpip in a bad light there, which again makes me hesitant to negotiate options of peace with him. Out of character, DM, just a quick question. Would Tikva have heard of what happened with Grim Legacy and Rejected Potential down at the Capitol?
As far for them when they came together and had issues.
When they when they
N-
attacked and when the whole Kraken thing and dragon thing went down. Yeah.
Probably when
Um,
because Venturwin exploded himself.
So the Cyrus would be the only remaining party member from that, and most likely, he never got a chance to talk about that whole situation. There weren't any living people in the area besides Gull and his peasants that came to find you guys afterwards. So no one would have been able to speak on the matter
'Kay.
other than Cyrus at this point.
Yeah, I wasn't
Unless
sure, like,
did
if
we talk
the
about
party
it?
members.
Did
I
Zaya?
don't know. That's what
One
I'm
sec,
thinking.
Maya.
If
Cameron, what'd you say?
Well, it would have also been talked about because Ven did implode himself in that when that happened.
But what I'm saying is the fact
And
that
Zaya was talking about it when they came back to the castle. When they came
Yes.
back
Don't-
to the
Was she?
capital, so
but none of
Yeah,
the
we
party.
didn't do. Yeah, we didn't do details. I think we did a
yeah,
high
I didn't
level.
think Zaya got into
all
it.
Zaya, I remember what
for
Zaya said. It was
specifics.
that Venturwin gave his life trying to defeat a strong foe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think she mentioned Zilpip's name. Is what I
No, she
mean.
didn't.
Yeah, that's
what I
what I
was trying
meant.
to remember, and talking it out helped me remember.
Perfect.
Yeah, so Tikva isn't aware of the conflict with Zaya and Zilpip in the Grim Legacy in the past. So she just has the note in current knowledge, which is what I was running off of anyway. So
Oh, go ahead.
no, you can go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm going to inspect the note, and I'm gonna look for the ethereal wolves symbol on it. See if there's a marking.
There is.
Hmm.
And
Go
Anton,
ahead.
you recognize this almost immediately. This is Cyrus's handwriting.
You are correct, my lady. This does seem to be Cyrus's handwriting. I will point out the mark, at least to the table, but mostly Tikva. This is the mark of the ethereal wolves, an organization that Cyrus founded many years ago, many centuries
Here, his
ago.
rival also examine the note so that he can memorize his creator's handwriting again.
Yep. We found that note on a dead man back when we had undead issues when we first landed. I wasn't sure it was Cyrus. Galadron looked familiar, but the note mentioned him having a wife who died and some other things I didn't understand. Now that has come to light the scope of his time magic, perhaps it was Cyrus, past or future, who either left that note or died in one of his failed timelines. I guess he settled down to have a wife in the middle of his important business. But either way, it clearly labels Zilpip as an enemy if someone who kills us or someone Cyrus wants to kill. He mentions a throne he wants. And fix what they have wronged. It implies Zilpip wronged him somehow, as did
Given the context of the
Logothis.
note, it could be that Zilpip eventually takes the throne of the High King.
Could be, which fits in
And
with me
then-
thinking he wants to kill the gods.
Which would also mean that my creator wishes to right the wrongs of both of the people who have held that title. That we currently know of, anyway.
Which, that's another messy debate. Zilpip being allowed to have the throne of a god. But if he's wanting to kill the gods, that does potentially put him on, I presume, the side of us all, on wanting to preserve the world and not destroy it. If someone here would like to share that they in fact want it to be completely destroyed and everyone on it murdered, feel free to raise your hand. No? Yeah, didn't think so. So, negotiations. I'm not sure how we'd
If
set
we
that
were
up.
to try to negotiate with something like that, we would need anti-magic set up to stop him from doing anything. Physically, I can probably outclass this gnome, as can possibly every single one of us. So if it's that he comes alone and stands in an anti-magic circle, we should be fine.
Didn't mean physically. I don't trust that at all. I meant magically. He had a spell. I was wondering if one of us could recreate If not, seems like he might be the one to contact us. But I don't know how I'd give him that sort of signal. And no means do I want him here physically. No, that would be stupid. The kingdom's
didn't
just
say
repaired and
I didn't say have it be here.
I don't want him near us until things have been discussed at all. But again, I'm not sure how to exactly do that. It was an Anton, you know of the message spell, I'd assume.
Oh,
Yes,
I
you
can
do.
I could do
message
that.
your ally that went to his god.
You
Yeah,
can.
message as long as the stronger sending. I can do both.
Would you both be able to try to modify in a way that allows a physical projection? Because that
Wait.
is what Zilpip pulled off.
If Miss, if I may interject, there's a spell that we could try. You can visit somebody in a dream.
Really? And what is the
Yeah.
spell?
It's called Dream.
Well, that seems
Isn't that
obvious, huh?
Minecraft Speedrunner?
Shut up.
If the target is
Um,
asleep, the messenger appears in the target's dreams and can converse with the target as long as it remains
Oh,
asleep.
but do you have to see them physically asleep?
No, it's
Like,
just a
is it
creature known to you. So you just have to like know their
Oh.
name.
And if he's asleep, which
And if
does
he's
Zilpip ever
well,
sleep?
the message lasts for 8 hours. So if you send it and at some point
In the next 8 hours, if they fall asleep, you're the first thing that they see.
Hmm.
This could be used to torture somebody.
actually
Okay.
that is a thing. If you give them nightmares, if they fail a wisdom saving throw, then they take levels of exhaustion and they can't long rest.
Well, that would declare war right away, so I might hold off on that. Uh,
Always
could use
speak
it
about every
though
bit.
to like say we want to discuss and to like give me further details or something. But okay, so we know that. That does sound useful. I don't know Zilpip's schedule. If he's in the gnome lands, it should be still
Gaul would
night
stop
for him.
for a moment, looking you up and looking at you for a second, and going, "I believe I've studied magic long enough in my younger days when I served alongside the Emperor. I think that if we can get a message to Zilpip, I could act as his direct mouthpiece. So he would not have to be physically here, but he could, for example, take over me as a vessel temporarily, of course. I have enough ability in my personally to make it so he couldn't physically move me, but he could still speak through me if that would be of assistance.
The question would be then, can he cast spells through you to cause damage here?
I don't have the magical capabilities to cast spells to that extent. In a sense, I am good with anti-magic, very bad at normal magic.
Yeah,
So if we were to do my idea, we would want you to set up the circle.
I could volunteer myself if that would be of use. If you wish to message him back and tell him this, I would be willing to.
I would like to potentially message him. I worry though, dear, about him being inside of your head or body. Again, I don't doubt your capabilities. I don't know the scope of Zilpip's. He's controlling the Tarask with what? His mind, his will? That's a power to be wary of, especially here, and you're more powerful than you let people let on, Gaul. I'd fear for that power to end up in the hands of someone who could want us dead.
Let's also assume that he doesn't come with the purest of intentions. He could use you to commit an assassination on current leader.
As soon as you say this, CR55, you see Gaul's eyes begin to glow, and the child is set down quietly and seems to be basically nuzzling to sleep. And you
That is
hear
adorable.
Zilpip's voice come out of Gaul for a moment. And he just introduces himself as simply Lord Zilpip of House Kung Pao, and states that he is here to speak as a conversation was requested.
Anton would have done Arcane Recovery before going to bed to get a higher level spell slot. He is going to cast a Wall of Force, but do it in a sphere,
Okay.
or basically around Gaul. It doesn't do anything to the person, it just puts them in a wall of a sphere of force, basically.
And
So-
Malthor and CR55 is going to have Sunforger at the ready.
Okay. As you
Atheris
cast.
is gonna
Oh, go ahead.
look around. Atheris is gonna look around and doesn't know what the fuck is happening.
Okay.
CR55 is
Neither
going
do
to lean over
we.
and whisper into the Dragonkin's ear. Just be ready. Just be ready. If he tries to attack anyone, attack him.
Oh,
Just
okay.
don't kill.
As he makes no
I think that's
move,
the Queen's husband.
Gaul doesn't seem to move physically and doesn't seem to even react to the wall of force or the weapons draw. He continues to stand there waiting.
Tikva will lean forward on her elbows and she stares curiously at Gaul. What color are his eyes?
Currently, his eyes are flaring up with a bright light.
Any light color in particular, or like a white kind of light?
Just a simple white light, as if his body has been taken over by a.
Think Avatar state.
Yeah, that works.
Lord Zilpip, it's nice to meet you. I believe you contacted me not long ago in my sleep. Yes, I'd like to discuss whatever it is that needs discussed with you. I'm not quite sure. The relationship between you and the previous members of the party has been taken with them, and I am not sure the scope of your conflict with them, nor what you've done. I do have reason to be hesitant of you, however, in your tent. I'm willing to discuss, but there are some nervousness among us. Please, no sudden movements and no spells if you can cast them without warning. I don't want anyone here getting trigger fingers and hurting Gaul in the process.
Okay. Give me a minute. I'm just checking something.
I'm sure Wolf is watching and then typing to tell you what he says.
Alright.
I knew it was sus when he was watching the stream, but whatever.
To be
plot.
fair, he watches all of my streams, so it's
Yeah.
not.
Does he?
Yeah. I mean, almost all of the time he ends up watching my streams, so.
Is he always watching us? Oh, great.
Some
No, he's
point.
gonna join VC, isn't he?
Maybe if I can remember my
Go ahead.
controls.
This seems like
Yep.
it'll work.
Oh well, there you go. Hello.
Wolf, baby, I
Lord
love you.
Zilpip.
Give me your babies. Give me
Mute the
them.
fanboy, please.
Can we mute the fanboy?
Oh, look at that.
Fanboy can type in chat.
What was the last thing said to Zilpip?
The whole thing, or like the last sentence?
I missed it as I was running to my computer.
Basically, Tikva said, like, greetings, Lord Kilpip. I am not aware of the scope of your conflicts with the previous group, as it's been taken with them. I think only Kips is from the original group. So you'd not really recognize any of the faces there. She basically said she's willing to discuss peace, but she has reasons to be hesitant and doubtful of your intents, and everyone here is nervous to not make sudden movements or cast spells if you're able without warning, as people might get trigger fingers. And she basically said she's open to discussion.
Meanwhile, in the very distance, Malthor is screaming no repeatedly.
Meanwhile, in the very distance, Malthor is being muted.
You have nothing to fear right now. I can't cast spells through this body. I'm not here to attack. I'm here for a conversation, as I told you earlier. So,
What is it
it
that you're
appears to
proposing?
me I was wrong. Nobody here wants me dead.
We are doubtful of where you stand and if you can be trusted, but I don't think anyone here per se wants you dead. At least, as far as we know. We simply know you're potentially a threat, maybe an ally. You're dangerous, but you're here to discuss.
Well, if you don't want me dead, then I may as well extend the hand of truce. My allies offer a great deal of power, and in return, they ask for very little.
But what
Your
is your end
allies.
goal?
Yes, I'm curious where you stand in this upcoming conflict of the gods.
My
Let's call it-
understanding is you control the Trask, which seems to be a bad thing.
I do control the Trask. I summoned it. It responds to my commands. The Trask was simply a means to an end. I fight for my own independence. I don't fight for my allies' nation or their causes. I fight for my own. But these allies do serve a greater purpose. They offer a good deal of power, which I believe you should all consider yourselves.
Well, power is great. Power without regulation, without moral, is a threat. There are people who want the world destroyed and wiped clean, and people who want to try to change it. These Heli, who we've come into conflict with, are you telling me they are here to preserve life, or this higher purpose is one of annihilation?
I have very little interest into the plans of the Heli.
Since you have extended this olive branch by being here, I assume you know of the upcoming God War, to put it in simple terms.
Mm-hmm.
What is your goal and which side do you exist on once that comes?
I exist on my side. I don't wish to be a god. I don't wish to be worshipped. I just wish to be left alone.
I have another small question. Apologies for the interrogation again. We do not know much about you.
I'm
The
here
High
to answer
King-
questions.
The High King has stated that if you are to be our enemy, he is to be our ally. I can't say I'm a big fan of him personally. I know Zaya wasn't. What have you done to tick him off, if I may ask?
If I recall, at a certain point I may or may not have sent a number of his priests into a uncomfortable situation. After which he got reasonably upset at me.
Of course. It's no deeper than that. The normal type of godly hatred.
I'm no god.
Yes, I know. We have reason to believe Saya might be in some form still alive. You had interactions with her and Cyrus and the others in the past. May I ask what went down for you to believe they wanted you dead and to make me believe that you were their enemy? They didn't tell me any tales.
I was following a friend. He was a hunter. You see, he had a scent for one of your sister's cousins?
Cousin.
Cousins. One of your cousins' compatriots. So I followed along. It was very entertaining to watch him hunt. It became clear, obviously, he was jumping into more than he could chew. So I stepped in and assisted. I have nothing against your cousin, nor her party. I was just merely helping a friend.
Where did you come to think that we or the previous party wanted to kill you? Was it from the encounter in the ruined capital?
Partially. I also have followers who give me seemingly less than reliable information.
Sorry, I was also rolling an insight.
As far as
Hey,
it
that's
goes,
fair, dude.
to each of you that have rolled, he's telling the truth 100%. He is not lying to you in the slightest.
Lying or withholding information?
Insight doesn't tell you whether the person's withholding necessarily. It just tells you whether they're not telling the whole truth. And in this case, it seems that everything he is telling you is exactly the truth.
Okay.
Well, then it seems we need to continue our conversation here. However, if you want to just be left alone, there are methods for magic casters, because I think Anton would, because you are a magic caster, aren't you, Wolf?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm pretty certain Cyrus would have known that. There are methods to do just that. Why involve yourselves with the world, with the Trask and your alliances, if you do just want to be left alone?
Yes, I'm also curious about that.
I've made enough of an impact in my youth. I will never truly be left alone, as long as the power balance sits as is. So to be left alone, I have to intervene in some way.
And this power balance is what on one side and what on the other?
Gods on one side, mortals on the other.
Anton just
But
nods.
the world is not black and white, no matter how many times people teach that phrase. There's grays. Are you within that gray? One of those many of shades between the gods and mortals? Because you say you're not a god, I believe that, but I know you're no mere mortal either.
I may not be completely mortal, but I am no god. Gods require worshippers, they require tithes, they require worship. I don't want it. I don't need it. I do not need to take my power from others. I make it my own.
You know, I have gone through the experience of death. Memories of the past have become hazy. Being brought back to life never doesn't have its faults, but memory has struck me. I have met you before. Caves, long ago. You were weaker then, with people in the past. You had things of science. Those bombs, when you granted me your mask for that short period, those bombs were weapons of destruction, were they not? And you were so much weaker than you, with your pursuit of science and your deadly weapons. It is hard to believe you would just want to sit by and not do anything with them. What are your plans when it comes to that?
My weapons are just another means to an end. If I have to get involved, if I have to fight, of course I'll make weapons. And of course my superior intellect will create superior weapons. I am more powerful. Much more powerful than I was when I first met you.
You are. And that, I must admit, has me worried. Even gods, they have other gods to keep them in balance for the most part. Should they get greedy with their power and throw around their weight? You have clearly power to rival the gods. The High King is worried about your presence. He has made that known. What system would we have in place to keep you from becoming corrupt and simply doing what the gods are attempting now? Take over control. I believe you'll want to be left alone, at least for now. But will that really last when the boredom kicks in?
Maybe not. It's not something I've thought about.
I'm willing to aid you. I don't want these gods currently to have the power they do. I can't say I've good connections, and I definitely don't want the world to end. But when everything's said and done, there are things that will also need discussed, and we need belief, faith that if we fix this world and we finally repair it down the line, after all the things everyone in current power has done to screw it up, that you won't just drop one of your bombs, one of your creations, rise 10 Tarrasques, 15, and just destroy it all again for amusement.
I am also amenable to further discussion. My end goal, from everything I've been told and taught growing up, is we need to stop the gods from resetting the world.
The gods wish to reset the world because they know that their followers are diminishing, and that those who don't believe in them as much are learning to make lives for themselves. The world can exist without gods. The world will spin on, as it always has. There won't be divine magic in it anymore, but people are beginning to realize that they don't need the gods, and that upsets and worries them. I simply want freedom.
As did many people before you. I have been around. My creators are the allies you have spoken of. I am one of their prototypes. My people were created as cannon fodder. And I'll call them people now because I realize after seeing so much more that we are intelligent and to feel, which would make us people. But as the Queen here has stated, power can corrupt very easily. The people, your allies, shelved us, put us away, and ended up going for more power. They grab at it and try and cradle it to use it to take over others, destroy those who they wish. And they treat everything as though it's a little experiment. One of their allies was recently teleported away to the capital of the Heli. So as for whether we can trust you, that is yet to be seen. But I will trust my appointed user, Anton, and I will trust the Queen here.
As Zilpip takes a moment to ponder something. Gives the players a second to think.
I have many things to say.
Welcome to the world. Welcome back.
That was all
Thank you.
CR55 had to say.
Okay.
Atheris, what are your thoughts?
Asterisk was spacing out. He says, yeah, I don't know. He seemed alright at first, but then he started talking about how the world doesn't need gods, and that just don't sit right with me.
And what god do you follow?
I don't follow a god, I work with one. Name is Saphira. But I don't know. You could be right, but I've been led to believe my whole life that gods are responsible for a lot of the things that happen. The sun, the moon, animals, plants, what have you. I don't know.
Well, while creation was done mainly by those of divine nature, I can assure you the moon, the sun, the stars in the sky, this planet that we all live on, they are no gods, they have no tie to gods anymore. If there were no gods, everything would keep going as normal.
One thing that, even though I am an arcane caster, if divine magics are to be no longer in the world, if the gods are away, I can see that causing many problems. Is there maybe a replacement of the regime needed? New blood?
I see no problem with those who seek power taking it for themselves. If people want to be powerful, they shouldn't be able to just worship some entity for long enough that they gain power. They shouldn't be risen up through the ranks of a holy order for long enough that they have power over hundreds of thousands of people. If people want power, true power, they should have to work for it.
I
Agreed.
must say, and I'm sorry if this would upset you, Asteris, I have many qualms with the gods. But like Anton says, total removal of them without something to take their place, a way to walk the world down to a world without gods. You cannot just get rid of them and leave it. We would have to do things. Assuming, again, new gods wouldn't take their place. I do agree, though, the current gods have sat in power unchallenged until the worlds have fused, and now that the worlds are fused, the gods are fighting to reclaim that power for themselves. I think new blood could work. Maybe not forever. I more am curious, not of the gods, not of their power. Their power is obvious. Why you're contacting us? Sure, we're powerful as adventurers, as people, but in comparison to the gods and in comparison to you, what do you see in us that proves enticing to be allies with?
I see in most of you, at least, enough intelligence to think for yourselves. You understand that there are many, many problems that come from the existence of gods in this world. And more people are understanding that these days, but very few are opposing me who do. And as I did believe you were opposing me, I wanted to see if we could strike an agreement.
That makes sense, although I will say, my cousin Zaya believed less in the gods than I do. I don't think she saw them as even having a use. She hated them and what they failed to do for her and for everyone she knew. So, again, conflict with her must not have been based on the gods, but I guess conflict with your friend. I still have a lot of questions, a lot of things we don't seem to know that you do. There's what? The worlds colliding, something about a white dragon. There's the unknown question of why Dibus murdered Zaya in the first place. You have answers, don't you?
Well, I know that Zaya was killed by Dibus on orders of the High King. I don't know why he gave the order, but I know that the orders were given through him.
I see.
I don't know so much about your other questions. Unless you have any more specifics you'd like to ask.
Out
There
of
seems
char- Oh.
there seems to be a new minor god or something like that going by Ray Plastes. Do you have any knowledge of that? I guess he shows himself in the form of a white dragon.
Yeah, I have heard stories and legends. Apparently, he was at some point associated with a member of your group, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Cyrus had made a deal with them to escape or get the party out of the Yuanti lands when it was a dire situation. And Anton would like to insight again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Horrible.
What are you inciting for
I-
specifically?
Seeing if he was telling the truth about knowing anything about the dragon.
I would like.
Yeah, that seems
Oh.
about accurate.
Okay.
I would like to insight to see if it's true. Like, he didn't know anything about like the two worlds colliding or
Okay.
that sort of stuff. Just because Tikva would assume
What's your
with his
passive?
power he'd know more. My passive?
Mm-hmm.
My passive insight is 16.
Yeah, you'd know he's
Mine's
telling the truth.
14.
He does not know as much about the worlds clashing
Dang.
together.
I will say
Even
this
Wolf's in the
before,
dark, huh? Rip, buddy.
passive instead of 17.
Nope.
Okay, time to get noise.
Yeah, CR55, it's the same thing. This man seems to be telling you
I
all
already
the
knew
truth.
that. I'm gonna CR55 is gonna ask him a separate question.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I can see from your answers that you're being honest, but what of the gods that choose to protect those who are weak, who are near the verge of extinction, who can't quite protect themselves? Surely these guardians would earn more respect from you, as they're not doing it for the power, they're doing it for something more than themselves.
Believe me or not, I don't really care, but there are no selfless gods.
I
There are
believe
none
there
who
are
care
selfless
for or
beings.
protect weak. unless they are gaining more out of it than others.
I believe that there is nothing such as selfless. Even my goals of being with this group are partially selfish. If we were to join with you, that'd make it very easy for me to do what I need to do, what I was given orders to do by my creator, which is raise my kind up and try to protect this land. Be all of the CR series that the Helly have. An allyship with you would get us entry and possibly freedom to walk around there. But outside of that, I know of there being deities such as the one that the Scaled One was speaking of, protect the innocent.
CR 55. I don't mean to interrupt, but there's been a lot of philosophy in this conversation, but definitions of weak and good vary, and I don't think
There is no such
Silpip
thing
here.
as weak, or there is no such thing as good. There is the gray area. Weak is
Right.
easily defined as one thing. A race that cannot cast magic, nor can fight physically without dying almost immediately.
What about
That is
innocent
weak.
then? I don't think Silpip shares maybe your
Innocent is
views or most
simple.
of ours on that.
Innocent is simple. A race freshly born. Or those that have not spilled blood or cannot spill blood.
Every
A
race has
baby
done
is
that by
innocent.
now.
A baby is innocent of its race's sins. My kind was innocent when it was first created. And then we were used as tools of war. I do not believe in any god that truly would protect everyone. For nothing.
I will have to interrupt you. There's something coming. I must leave.
How do we contact you in the future?
I'll contact you. If you would like to try and contact me, I still have a small psychic connection to this thing, and he makes Gall gesture to himself.
Yep.
Inform this one, and we will be in contact. Hold on.
Okay.
I see.
As Gall seems to start to here, one sec. Go ahead. As Zilpip continues to contemplate.
Yeah, I'm noping out. I'm out.
Okay.
Oh god,
As
well, there's
Zilpip
something happening.
vanishes, I will kick you from this call.
Sounds good.
Move you over to
Have
General.
a good one, guys.
Good luck.
Have a good one.
Alright, and
oh boy.
I'm just going to change his role out of that so he doesn't join. Okay. As Gall seems to regain consciousness after dropping to the floor, his eyes stop glowing. Everything goes kind of quiet. I assume the spell of, or the wall of force has been removed. Kips suddenly regains his speaking ability. And as you are all kind of looking about, getting ready to converse, the doors slam open. And in walks a very angry looking Tenem.
Oh boy.
No weapons drawn, but just very angry as he glares at each of you. And he just stands at the doorway, waiting, as if expecting an attack.
Can I do Insight Arcana to make sure this is the real
What
Tenem?
is-
I assume Tikva would have seen his appearance when he first meted.
Sure. Feel
Yeah,
free.
that
I will
yes. So,
slowly seeing the angry giant man slowly set the hammer on the table, knowing now's not the time to attack. He pulls his hand away from it.
Okay.
I'm rolling Arcana to see if there's a magical disguise or generally what magic he might have on him. As of right now.
What's my passive
Again,
insight?
another 19 for Arcana, which is bad considering the modifier. I know.
There's an
Passive
image.
insight 17. What's his emotional state?
Angry. Let me grab Tenem's character sheet. Give me a moment. For those wondering, that is what Tenem looks like.
Fun.
Now that he's in shape.
Ah, the tainted dwarf.
Now that he's slimmed down, because yes, that is his slim version.
Yep.
He was very fat. He was a chonky man.
You recognize his spell abilities. He does have spells. He is a magic caster. You recognize that he seems to be very experienced at tinkering and creating things, and has more magic than any of you in the room currently would. But his destruction, or his capability of destruction, seems to more come from the magical items he is carrying, which he is carrying a lot.
Yeah. I think
Got
last time
rocket
Cyrus and Zaya
launcher.
checked, he was decked out.
Yes.
Rocket
From
launcher staff.
what each of you with your passive perception can immediately recognize is he is carrying a Dragon Slayer greatsword and a weapon of certain death halberd. He also has what looks to be a small firearm on his hip of a sort of a musket pistol, if you will. A flintlock, rather. And he just looks on angrily at each of you and is now starting to glare specifically at Tikva.
The R55
so, like-
will move in front slightly.
Yeah, Tick will stand up slightly, like as she's inspecting, and be like, "Tenem, is that you? Last we heard, you were kidnapped and presumed dead."
Yes, it's good to meet you once again, Tikva. Last time I saw you, I was much larger. Back in the when you were part of the Crimson Talon. I heard
Yes, it's
my brother-in-law cut you down due to an assassination attempt on his life. I believe you remember Greg.
Yes, I remember him very well.
It was an unfortunate situation what had to occur. I apologize on his behalf. He was never a very kind soul, but I sensed the gnome's energy nearby. Where is he?
We aren't sure. He just contacted us using magic. He, I suppose, wanted to discuss. Not sure what to make of that conversation. If we're all being honest, I assure. What happened, Tenem? Where did you go off to?
I met with some old friends to take care of some deals that were made on my behalf. But that is regardless in the situation. What did Zilpip tell you?
He answered our questions from what we could tell honestly. Can I do an insight check on him?
Sure.
As I'm speaking?
What are you
I
trying
want
to
to
find out?
see I want to see his intent. He was curious about what Zilpip tells us. I want to know if that's anger at Zilpip, anger at us, nervousness, if there's something he is afraid Zilpip might have told us.
Okay.
I want to know like his, I guess, motivations behind that because
Okay, go ahead.
Tikva's not sure what to make of
My
it.
passive 17 insight tells me that his intent is murder.
17.
He seems angry specifically at Zilpip, but you can sense some slight animosity to your entire group currently.
I see.
Even the robot who's done nothing.
We
Especially the robot.
basically just asked him of his intent. He claims he wishes to be left alone. He's in control of the Tarask. general stuff of that nature. Philosophy got brought into it,
And
and
did
morals.
he tell you
What?
of his slaughtering of the clerics at Dragon's Gate during the siege? How he tossed them aside to be devoured by an undead horde? Thousands of innocent people cut down because of his order, because he didn't want to deal with them or protect them?
He did
No.
mention he killed
I knew he was
multiple
a bad guy.
multiple
I knew it.
worshippers of the High King.
I assumed he was telling the truth, and through that, I assumed he was leaving out information. What do you know of him and what he's all done? I know my cousin and her group had an issue with him. He
He's cut
seems more
down.
intent on science and power.
He's
and
cut down
morals.
thousands. He kidnapped your cousin's child and enslaved them. He has no problem throwing aside his compatriots. He is nothing but pure evil and stands against everything that the gods themselves stand for.
Well, he was very honest about that. He said he wanted to kill the gods.
Yes, I remember a group that tried that once, and instead of killing them, they took their positions and made things worse. If you're familiar with the tale of Logolthus, you'll know this one.
I am not of this world. I do not know that god.
I recommend, Queen Tikva, that you stick to the orders I give and do as the Alliance requires for the time being. We can discuss matters of destruction of gods later when Zilpip, a man who can, if he so chooses, destroy entire cities at the flick of his wrist. A man like that cannot live in a world like ours.
Should we try subterfuge then? Attempt to lie and
Yes,
gain access to an army of my kind to utilize and destroy him later.
Him? Any time wizard that would come of issue, I would agree to both. Now, I expect you to honor your position as Zaya did. Will this be true, Tikva, or do you choose to become an independent of your own right?
If I ever did choose to become an independent, it wouldn't be now. I have no plans, no arguments with the Alliance as it is, especially when the world's at stake and we need to work together. I am wondering why Zilpip contacted us, but I can't say I fully trust him. So you have no qualms from me in that regard.
Although I should possibly give that to somebody.
He looks at you, nods, taking the axe, or taking his hand away from the axe hilt.
Slowly puts the hammer back into place on my body.
It's good that you choose to honor your cousin's dealings. I would have hated to have to massacre your entire kingdom. I expect a full report on your findings of Zilpip within the next week. I am gathering the allies to prepare for a march for war on Zilpip and all he calls alliances.
Would schematics of the grenades be useful for this march?
I do not know of what you speak. But, Zaya, I expect you... Or, Zaya, sorry. Apologies. Tikva, I expect
The baby.
you there. All of you tieflings look alike to me these days. But I expect you to be there at the council within the week. We'll be meeting 8 days from now exactly at Dragon's Gate at the table. You choose not to be there, and I will assume it is outright war against your kingdom. And I will return with the full force behind me. You choose to be there, and I will expect that you have agreed to the alliance without qualms, and we will continue with the plan.
I have one question, though, just to bring it up. Because of everything going on, is our first target to deal with Zilpip and his allies, or to deal with what's going on with the gods? I just want to know what our priorities are before we go into this meeting. There's a lot on our plates right now.
The gods are of no concern to us mortals. We will deal with those we have to, and we will destroy any of those who do not believe.
What of the god war that's coming, though?
That's not something CR55 would know.
Oh, crap. Never mind then. Well, wait a minute. It's been mentioned a lot with him around.
Mm-hmm.
So he would bring that up, that it's coming.
question out of character.
Mhm.
When Tenem said, like, who does not believe in that, would Tikva know what he'd worship or what his morals might be? Like, if
Tenem?
this is a religious thing or if this is if this is like a general belief thing?
Some say that Tenem worships the god of death. Others say that he has no god. Some would say that he believes in the High King. I mean, it really
Can I
depends on who knows him.
can I sense it off of him? Do a religion check.
Do a religion check, Kips.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sure.
come on. And then if
Cleric.
yeah. Or if the
Cleric
warlock
Pog.
man can tell.
Cleric Pog.
20. Not that, but 20.
Okay. Give me a
Cleric
moment.
Pog.
I don't know about gods or nothing.
Are you any good at religion? Wait, is CR55 you good at? Nope.
If he is, then I'm say that should be retcon because he wouldn't have experience, I'd assume.
It's a +0 to religion. Also +0 to Arcana. He is the
Yeah.
most RP centric with his skills. Acrobatics he has +5.
Alright, I just pinged you something, Tron.
Nice.
Although he is very persuasive for a robot. It's the most persuasive.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose I can't tell. I'm not going to tell the party now because he's still here.
Mm-hmm. He's still standing
Yeah,
in the room.
that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I
wait,
just
please
wanted to check
wait. Please wait. Gods, please wait.
You
Or like
worship
ping
the
us
devil.
something.
Well, that guy worships the
Guys,
devil.
turns out he actually worships Gaul. Pog? Thumb Pog?
God is right with all.
Gods.
Gull.
Okay.
Wait, are you saying you don't worship Gull?
Wait, we all need to start worshiping Gull. If we create a new god, we have a very good first foot in the god
Well,
war.
great new. Well, why not just do that with Zaya or someone instead of Gaul, who's
As
actually
Tenem
like a demigod?
continues to glare at Tikva, he turns and just slams the door behind him, leaving.
Yep.
And as soon as you
Okay.
sense him being there, you sense him disappearing.
Guy was full of himself.
Anyone
He's a
know what to
ruler, so
think of
possibly.
that? Kips, I mean, you were from the original group. What did you know of Zilpip or of Tenem even?
I wasn't from the original group. What are you on about?
You were joined before I did, technically.
You're older than she is in
uh,
this group. She
Well,
has
yeah,
more
but I know nothing. I know nothing about that.
That would probably be
Hmm.
something to ask your holy friend. who
You
is God.
are a cleric, though. What do you sense anything tied with the gods when it comes to him? I'm curious about
Oh
that.
yeah, he's got a lot of divine mumbo jumbo going on around him. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that.
Can you discern any gods in particular, or?
It's almost like he's the High King or High Queen. It's a lot of magic.
That is
Very
the High
divine
King
person.
has
Very
come to
divine.
us before. We have reason to believe Tenem was kidnapped or killed. What says that wasn't the High God in his form?
the fact that if he thought we were going to betray him when we first met him on the mountain, it seemed more like he was weakening, dying. from
That's
lack of
true.
belief. Holding a form such as that with that much power to be showy would be taxing.
Although I don't think Zilpip's the most moral person, and I don't agree on a lot of that, he does seem powerful. He brings up some good points, and he seems useful as a temporary ally, if definitely not a long-lasting one. With what happens after the war, again, I brought that up already. What I wonder is with Tenem now. He seemed very hostile, had a bad experience with that gnome. I wonder if that's a personal thing, or if he's serving a god that doesn't like him. The High King, who's apparently against Zilpip, apparently brought about the death of my cousin for some reason. She hated Zilpip. Of course, would probably have gone against him, so why did he want her dead? If other than she just didn't like him herself. I don't know, there's a lot of questions.
Disbelief can also affect gods. If so many people believe that they're worthless or don't exist, perhaps it causes them harm.
Could be. Then why
Also-
not me? Then I can't say I'm on good terms with the High King either. And yet he
But you
approached
don't-
me.
But you also don't immediately disbelieve in him. Think he's entirely worthless. You think he has a worth. It's just not.
I think he
immediately
has
apparent.
power. I'm not sure about worth. He has power, and he's a threat.
Well, either way, I will hand off the schematic for the explosion device I have left over to you. It might be useful for this army that he is trying to raise if we do choose that route.
Right.
If
I
not, then it will be useful elsewhere for protecting this country. As
definitely.
for you, designated user, I suggest you try and get a word to the holy man that went through that hole and see if what aid he can supply and how soon he can supply it.
The holy man that went through what hole?
Your friend,
The holy
the
man's
one that's
hole.
on the mountain.
Hey,
right.
we don't talk about the holy man's hole.
All
don't
right,
do that
listen.
here.
I
Dick
got
boy,
rid
let's
of
be
the
honest.
jeans. The holy man's hole has been torn apart. It's gone.
Thank you.
Damn it!
Thank
The
you.
whole plot was to get those pants. The entirety of the plot was just to repair. The entire reason
Just
the High
get a
King was gonna
mending
do this,
spell.
the entire reason the High King was doing this was just to repair a pair of pants.
He
The
just
holy
needed.
man's pants had a hole, so he had
sugar.
to fix the hole to the holy man's hole.
God.
The plot.
Very
begins.
simple plot.
Yeah.
And DM,
But-
this is still like 3 in the morning, right?
Yeah, it's been about an
Yeah.
hour. An hour has passed roughly, so it's
Yeah.
about 4 a.m. now.
So 4.
Tikva will
Also-
pipe up and look at the others and be like, I know it's still early or late. You all may go back and rest if you want, do other things, but I feel we all need to discuss what happened, what we believe we should do, and what we should focus on. I can't say I trust Zilpip, but I also can't say I think our first priority should be killing him rather than dealing with the gods. So I think we all need to discuss that as a group, but rest is important. We have time for the bean and potential allies to secure before that council meeting in a week. So if you all wish to go get rest, feel free.
I do not require rest.
Very well, then idle activity.
I will continue
Unless
on
everyone's-
improving the grenade.
Right. I may summon you all for. I guess it would qualify as lunch, but it probably would be around the time most would have breakfast. I will eventually summon you all again, but I don't want to put too much on you at once. I have my own thinking to do, but I'll be reachable if anyone needs to discuss things privately, I suppose, or discuss concerns. Asterisk, I know it's a lot for you, and I can't say you have strong reasons to stay. If you're having doubts about joining us, I mean, feel free to voice them.
I'll be
Cowman.
honest with you. I don't want to. If you guys are considering joining the Zilpip fella, then I don't think we got anything to discuss.
I only wish to use
Joining's
him to get my
the
time
wrong
free.
wording. Using him as a temporary ally to help us achieve potentially a better ending, that's a consideration. Joining him implies becoming like companions, like joining a group, joining a belief. I don't think that would be the scope of it. It just, you may have to. The enemy of your enemy is your friend, sort of deal, with him and the gods. The corrupt ones, of course. I don't mean to challenge you or goddess in particular. He's useful, is all I'm saying, and we need to consider that use before we just try to label him as a full threat like Tenem has done. Desperate times call for desperate measures and perhaps less than ideal alliances for the time being.
Speaking of desperate measures, Cowman stares at Kips. I need a workshop to create a prototype of the grenade. Would you allow me to use yours?
Sure, that's no problem with me. You're more than welcome.
I might also need to procure some of your chemicals for this.
The golden lemon.
The lemon grenade. It sends lemony freshness and death.
Oh.
That was bad.
Oh.
Correction,
Let's
everyone. The meeting for the council will not be in a week. It is, and she like touches her temple lightly, 6 months. That gives us more time to think, to work on gaining those allies we discussed, and do other things. So again, please, no rush. If you would all like to return to your quarters, or wherever else in the castle, feel free.
Is there a place where I can like punch a dummy or something?
Oh yes, the training grounds. They are right outside. She'll give directions because I don't remember them out of character. If a guard questions you, just tell them that Tikva has allowed you permission. In fact, if you need, I can alert one of the guards, probably standing outside the room.
Nah, you're all right.
Of course.
Can I ask a guard to bring me things?
You could perhaps ask a servant to bring you
Can I
things.
ask a guard to bring me things?
Guards aren't required to bring things so much as deliver messages and protect, but depending on the item, or if there are no servants around.
People.
What do you need people for?
I'm not gonna kill him or anything, if that helps.
Torture is sometimes worse than killing, Kips.
No, it's not torture either.
I think my 16 passive insight argues. But
well, I mean, you're wrong though, because it's not. I'm not trying to kill him. I'm not torturing him.
You get a sense that Kips is planning to do something, but he's not sure if the outcome will be positive or negative, but it isn't life-threatening.
My people are already few and are under extreme stress. You are not plucking people, my people in my kingdom, from the streets for experimentation. I can supply
no,
animals.
They're not random citizens. I need some very, very intelligent people. Just for.
Well, how about perhaps people we encounter on our travels that prove enemies? I am a queen. I'm not subjecting my civilians to be lab rats.
No, they're not for lab rats. I'm not using them for laboratory things.
I believe you.
What are you using them for, then?
I need them for training.
What kind of training?
I don't need them to train me. I'm training them.
He's a doctor, isn't he?
Well, my guards don't fully need medical training. We would have.
Oh no, I'm not training the guards. I'm not training the guards. I'm training citizens within your kingdom.
To become doctors?
And nurses.
With what type of training? I'll
educate them.
See, Kips, you have quite some skill. I saw it in the vampire fight. Your capacity to heal and to damage undead is astounding. However, I believe when I first met you, it was with your rats blowing my kingdom to shreds.
Those weren't my rats, if that makes you feel any better. There were some random guy we picked off the streets rats.
But was he not serving under you? As an apprentice?
Well, it was more like a compatriot.
Right.
I saw some value in him. I didn't realize that he was actually a poor choice until it was too late.
So, should I let you do this and start this program? I can be rest assured there will be no more exploding rats unless we are to make weapons.
Well, I'm not training anyone to make exploding rats, so I'd be impressed if they could do such a thing.
But I will need a good supply of rats.
Right. I will think this over. I'd need to find people to give to you, and I'm sure there would be funding needed. You'd need a place to work. I'm putting it under good consideration. Yep, rest assured.
Sounds good.
I just need to run it by some people, of course.
Is there anything else that I need?
We need gunpowder.
No, but I do need is there a library here by chance? Just out of curiosity.
There is.
There's a royal library, correct? Yes, it contains a lot of knowledge we've salvaged after the capital was destroyed. I mean, there might be ruins there, but that's what
Can you
we
point me in the
choose
direction?
travel. Yes. Do you need to find anything particular? I've browsed the library myself. I could perhaps help you locate something.
I'm gonna need books on like tinkering, engineering, things of that nature. Any alchemy, I'll need that.
Yep, of
medicine.
Royce, I'd assume Tikva, having had so much free time to sit at the castle when I was playing Zaya, would probably know general locations of that stuff.
Yep.
CR55 would also bring up the fact that he is an expert tinkerer. And possibly
Yeah. Tikva will like give you the rows, the location. She'll probably recommend a few books with like the alchemy and stuff, like specific titles, and like we'll give you those directions.
Okie dokie.
I'll go with you because more knowledge is good knowledge when it comes to tinkering. To also share his experience with you, cowman.
Okay. As the party begins to plan out what they wish to do,
oh yeah,
we will come back next session to the party having planned out their next move, where they're going, and having hopefully achieved most of their goals. They will be looking out for my requests of roles this week, as I will have them doing things in the background. Thank you all for those who have watched today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed the plot, and be prepared as the second arc picks up next session.
Just rolled like crossbow damage. She shot Gaul in the ass.
Thank you all for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed. Have a good one.